Hi, this is Dale Scrimshaw. Well, we're going to look at TreePlan now. I have already loaded TreePlan. I have it in my Excel program as an add-in. I gave you some instructions on Blackboard on putting TreePlan in as an add-in or as a program that you would call up from Excel. And I'm going to leave it up to you. I'm not going to go through the installation of it. I'm going to leave it up to you to follow those instructions and put TreePlan, make TreePlan available for you. I have it in as an add-in, so I'm in Excel now. I have a new worksheet here. I'm going to put my cursor in A1. That's a good place to put your cursor when you're going to start TreePlan, because TreePlan puts in the initial TreePlan based on where your cursor is when it opens up. So I want to put my cursor in A1. I'm going to get my add-ins, and I'm going to select TreePlan. And I get a drop down that asks me, do I want a new TreePlan? And I do, new tree. And this is how it starts. A TreePlan uses squares as decisions. The triangle at the end is outcomes. So this is a little TreePlan that has one decision and two alternatives and the outcomes for those two alternatives. We're going to look at the Thompson decision tree on page 85, I believe that is. And so you see there that we have a decision to make right off. Are we going to conduct a market survey or are we not going to conduct a market survey? So we keep things straight. We can change these names. This is alternative 1, this is alternative 2. We can change those names. Let's change this name to conduct survey. And let's change this name to no survey. Notice all I did was click into the cell where the words alternative were, and I typed it in, and I hit my enter key on this one. I think on this one I just moved down, but here I hit my enter key and you see what happens. Now if we conduct a survey, we have an event. Now the diamond here is an outcome. We need to change that outcome to an event because we could have a favorable survey or an unfavorable survey. So we're going to change this. We're going to click our mouse right there. Notice how it highlights there. Now we're going to call up the TreePlan menu. You call your TreePlan menu by the Control-Shift-T key all at one time. So Control-Shift-T. And now you see I have a menu plan over here. Now I need to change this to an event because an event is a state of nature. So I'm going to change this to an event. I've clicked the change to event node. And what's my possibilities here? I could have a favorable survey or I could have an unfavorable survey. So I have two possibilities. I'm going to leave that at 2 then. I'm going to say that's okay. And notice now that it has given me 2 different outcomes from this event. Well, what are those possible outcomes? Well, outcome is favorable survey or a possible unfavorable survey. So I'm going to say this is a fav survey. And this, you notice I just click down in here now, and this is an unfav survey. I hit my enter key. See what happens. Okay, those are the possibilities there. Now, this again is an outcome, but I don't want it to be an outcome because if I have a favorable survey, I have to decide now, am I going to build a large plant, a small plant, or no plant at all? So this is actually a decision point. So I'm going to put my mouse right there. I'm going to call up my menu. The menu was Control-Shift-T. And I'm going to change this to a decision node. And what do I have? I have 3 possible decisions. So I'm going to click on 3, and I'm going to say OK. Notice now that I have alternative 5, 6, and 7. Back here I had alternative 1 and 2. Notice how it keeps numbering. It also keeps moving down, and it keeps moving across. Now if I have a favorable survey, what's my possible outcomes? Or what's my possible, this was a decision, wasn't it? So what's my possible decisions? Well, I could build a large plant, LG plant, or I could build a small plant, that's M plant, or I could build no plant. Okay. Now, I hit my enter key and see I get out of the cell. Now on unfavorable survey, if I have an unfavorable survey, this is an outcome right now because it's a diamond shape. But if I have an unfavorable survey, I have to also make a decision on whether I'm going to build a large, small, or no plant at all. So I have another decision to make here. So I'm going to put my mouse there, and I'm going to do Control-Shift-T, and I get my menu, and it says change to decision node. Yes, that's what I want to do. I have 3 possible decisions I have to make, and I want to say that's okay. Again, I have large plant, hit my enter key, and notice I can hit my enter key and just move straight on down. Small plant. I'm going to press my arrow key this time, and notice I go right on down again. Or no plant. And hit my enter key. Okay, so if I conduct a survey, I could have a favorable survey or I could have an unfavorable survey. If I have a favorable survey, I could build a large plant or small plant or no plant. If I have an unfavorable survey, I could build a large plant, a small plant, or no plant. Or I could not conduct a survey. Well, let's go back here. If I do not conduct a survey at all, I have to make a decision here, don't I? I have to make a decision on whether I'm going to build a plant. So I'm going to change this. My menu again is Control-Shift-T. I'm going to change this to a decision node, and I have 3 decisions there. I'm going to tell it that's okay. And I'm going to scroll down, and notice how it keeps moving down, and it's going to move across here a little bit too. I want to move down to here, so if I have no survey, I have a decision to make, and it's going to be what? It's going to be large plant, small plant, can't spell, or no plant. Okay. Now let's go back up. I've got all of my decisions in here. Let's go here now. If I build a large plant, what might happen? Well, I could maybe have a favorable market or an unfavorable market, couldn't I? This has to be an event then. Right now it's a diamond, so it's showing an outcome. I'm going to change it to an event. Control-Shift-T gets my menu. Change to event. And what's the possible events here? Well, favorable or unfavorable market. So 2. Okay. Favorable market or unfavorable market. Now if I build a small plant, again, this becomes an event of either a favorable market or an unfavorable market. So my menu keys, Control-Shift-T, change to event to okay, favorable market. Notice I arrowed down that time. Unfavorable market. Now no plant is an outcome, isn't it? So let me hit my enter key there and get out of that cell. No plant, that's an outcome. That can stay like it is. Now if I have an unfavorable survey, again, if my unfavorable survey and I have large plant, I have the outcome. So I must change this now again. Control-Shift-T. This now becomes an event. And there's 2. And here I am. And I could have a favorable market. I could have an unfavorable market. The same exists. This time notice I haven't hit the enter key here. I'm still flashing. I haven't hit the enter key, but I'm just going to move my cursor down and select this. You see what happened here? It accepted that, and I'm right down here now. So what I'm pointing out to you is you could hit your enter key, you could hit your arrow down key, your arrow up key, or just click into another cell. So at the small plant, I also have these events. So again, I hit my right mouse key right then. I hit my right mouse key and I didn't mean to. So I'm just going to move over here and get out of that cell and now get back into it again. And now Control Shift T to get my menu. Change to event to OK. I lost some lines in here. I'm not quite sure why I've lost some lines. I'm going to continue on. I don't know that I did anything there. They're coming back. I might have a little goofiness with my PC. I'm not sure here. Anyway, with small plant, I have Fave Market. I'll leave it that way. And I have Unfave Market. Or I could have no plant, in which case this is an outcome. Down here, if I do not conduct a survey, I have the decisions to make a large plant, a small plant, or no plant. And if I do decide on a large plant, again, I must look at my outcomes. Event here, event node 2 events. And this again is favorable market, unfavorable market, for a small market, or for a small plant, again I have the 2 events that could occur. So I have to change it to an event. Change to event node 2. OK. Again, I have these same 2. Favorable market, unfavorable market, no plant. In this case, no plant. There is no market. So again, this is an outcome. Okay, now I have all of my events, all of my outcomes in place. I'm going to make this a little smaller so we can see a little bit more of it vertically anyway, or horizontally anyway. Now I need to put in some values. If I have a value here, if I do this, if I conduct a survey, a favorable survey, large plant, favorable market, what's my anticipated outcome? Well, I believe that was in the text. That's 190,000. Remember, it originally was 200,000, but we paid 10,000 for this survey. So now it's 190,000. I think that's right. 190,000. And what was the probability of a favorable market? If you look in your text, you'll see the probability of a favorable market is 0.78. 0.78. So I have to put that probability in there. Favorable market probability 0.78. Unfavorable market probability, just get that one in there right now also, was 0.22. And what is the outcome if it's an unfavorable market? Minus 190. Now, if it's a small plant and a favorable market, the outcome was 90,000. If it's a small plant and an unfavorable market, the outcome is minus 30,000. What was the probability for a favorable market? 0.78. And the probability for an unfavorable market, 0.22. Now, if there's no plant at all, Now it did cost me for this survey, so I've lost $10,000 because I paid for the survey, so that's a negative $10,000 in there. Moving on down now, if the survey is unfavorable and I build a large plant and I have a favorable market, the outcome is $190,000. I have to change the probabilities. I'll do that. I put that in there wrong. 0.78, I believe is what it is. No, I'm sorry, it's not. This is now the unfavorable survey, large plant, favorable market. Here, my probability is only 0.27. So 0.27. If I have an unfavorable market, my outcome would have been minus 190,000. And the probability here, according to what I see in the text, is 0.73. So for the small plant, the outcome under an unfavorable survey and a favorable market is 90,000. The probability of a favorable market for the small plant under the unfavorable survey is 0.27. The unfavorable market, I'm just going down and picking out these. These would be given to you, or your company would have determined these, minus 30,000. And the probability here was 0.73. No plant's going to cost me 10,000 because I'm paying for the survey. Now my outcomes down here, and I'm going to put them here. Notice the dotted line means that I don't have to put anything in here. I'm going to put it over here. This is no survey, large plant, favorable market. My expected outcome was 200,000 because I did not pay for the survey. I'm just going to scroll down here and put in all the outcomes now. No survey, large plant, unfavorable market, probability of outcome minus 180,000. No survey, small plant, favorable market, outcome of 100,000. No survey, small plant, unfavorable market, minus 20,000. No survey, no plant, that's 0. Now I'm going to move over here and put in my probabilities here. No survey, large plant, favorable market, 0.5. That's already in there. No survey, large plant, unfavorable market, 0.5. That's already in there. So 0.5 remains the probabilities for these other conditions. Now I've got to go back and put in a couple of other probabilities. Conduct survey, or favorable survey here. What's the probability of a favorable survey? 0.45. 0.45. Put that in there. What's the probability of an unfavorable survey? 0.55. Put that in there. I think that's the last of my probabilities. Notice I have a value now of 49,200. That's exactly what we have in the text. I've added trees, I've added branches, I've changed from outcomes to events, and from events to decision nodes. And that's how you work TreePlan. Pretty slick, huh? This is about 20 minutes. I promised you about 20 minutes. I will do another small one and put it on a separate video. I'll get it there sometime yet this Saturday evening. Okay, any questions? Hey, if you have any questions about this, you can put them on that muddiest point discussion board, or just email me a question. That might be even as fast. Okay, thanks a lot.